Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Murder and mayhem on the golf course will be the topic on Read About It today. Hi, I'm BJ Williams. William Bernhardt will tell us about his new book, Final Round. Susie Beasley will talk with Phil Taubert. Kids Corner will feature Rosemary Zarsky. Doug Benton, Evelyn Davis, and Bud Munkers will also talk about books. Coming up, Bill Bernhardt.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, BJ Williams.
Bill Bernhardt is a well-known Oklahoma writer whose acclaimed mystery series featuring hard-working attorney Ben Kane has received 2 Oklahoma Book Awards. Bill is branching out with his latest book, which takes place at the Masters Tournament in Georgia. Doug Benton interviewed the author on his recent visit to Oklahoma City. You'll enjoy what they had to say about Final Round.
Hello again, everybody. I'm here today to talk with William Bernhardt. Bill, hello. Welcome back to Read About It.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. You are a 2-time winner of the Oklahoma Book Award.
Yes.
So you are one of Oklahoma's favorite mystery writers, and nationally one of our favorite mystery writers. And are you hiding your light under a bushel here? Are you also a great golfer that we just don't know about? Come on.
I'm not a great golfer. I have occasionally swung a club, but great is way pushing it.
Well, the reason we mentioned golf here in relation to Bill Bernhardt is your latest book, Final Round, which is set at the Augusta Masters Golf Tournament.
Right.
So I gather you haven't played Augusta.
I haven't played. I did visit and scope it out, but I stayed very low profile because I had a hunch as soon as they had any idea what I was up to, my pass would be yanked real fast.
Well, I don't know that this will get you invited to many pro-ams, this particular book, although it is a wonderfully funny book. And I hope that we're not scaring anybody by saying that it has a golf background for people who aren't golfers. I am not a golfer. You can probably tell by my physique that I don't get out and do much walking and swinging of sticks. But it is a wonderfully funny book. In fact, there were times I thought, I wonder why Bill doesn't just write a comic novel. I mean, have you ever thought about that?
I have thought of that. Of course, you think, publishers think that's just deadly. That's the one thing above all they can't sell is a humor book, and so I usually try and slip it in amongst the murder and mayhem. Do it that way.
Well, I can't go into details on this because I don't want to give anything away in the plotting of the book, but there are times when you use the humor, it seems to me, to kind of misdirect people because you're dropping some pretty significant clues at times when you're putting in some of the funnier material. Obviously, you do that on purpose, but is that difficult to do, to kind of balance the two things at the same time, the crime writing and the humorous writing?
Not really. I think this book lent itself to it very well. I mean, for starters, it's a golf mystery, so I think it would be a tragic mistake to take the thing too seriously. And I intentionally gave a lead character when I started thinking about this and thinking, well, he needs to be a PGA pro, and I really didn't want some kind of dull, starch shirt, Sears, no facial hair kind of guy. So I came up with Connor Cross, who's sort of the gonzo pro golfer who flouts all the rules. I mean, he's an Oklahoma boy. What do you expect? So he flouts all the rules and dresses inappropriately, and of course that just drives them crazy at this prestigious high-tone Masters tournament. So that was an easy avenue for getting humor into the book.
Now, where's Connor from in Oklahoma?
It's from Watauga.
Watauga, and the course that he practices on there?
The Dusty Duffer, which there really is. I was speaking out in Watauga about the time I wrote this book, and that popped into my head, so why not? Ben is from Oklahoma City, Ben Kincaid, the lawyer in my legal courtroom dramas, so this would be a good change of pace, I thought. Yeah,
keeping it all home at home there. There's a lot of betting that goes on. I mean, I'm not challenging this, but I'm just curious. are athletes, do they tend to bet a lot on the events?
It seems to be a big deal on the pro golf surface.
Is it really? Okay.
Circuit. I did a ton of research because you know, I knew a little about golf, but not nearly enough to write a book. And I particularly wanted to learn more about the Masters tournament, which really turned out to be very interesting. It was something I knew nothing about beforehand, but the history, the call of the course and the tournament, and Bobby Jones and Cliff Roberts and all the great stories and anecdotes, that turned out to be so rich that I ended up putting a lot of that history in the book. As you know, in the course of the story and chapter heads and whatnot, that turned out to be one of my favorite parts of the research. And I also found out what pro golfers at least reportedly do in their spare time, one of which is placing bets constantly.
Well, yeah, that's fascinating. I was also interested in your discussion of tunnels almost under the golf course. Now, will you make? Oh, I saw you raise your eyebrow. Did you make that up?
You read the acknowledgments where I said I'd taken a few liberties here and there.
That was one of them.
Normally that's in the back of the book, but I put it in the front of this one. There's a reason. I didn't want letters from angry Masters aficionados telling me, what? I've never heard about the sewer system, and maybe a few other liberties too.
Okay, well, it works out well. Now, you've got some of the PGA officials in this book, not real people, and they're pretty straight-laced. Right. Is that accurate, do you think?
That is accurate. The PGA is very strict. They have their morals rules and deportment rules, and you know, certain kind of dress and certain kind of no facial hair and all this stuff. And of course, the Masters is the most entrenched, deep South, traditional, prestigious tournament of them all. You know, the people who have foregone extra money from CBS and others because they want to maintain total control of the tournament, and they do. So actually, I don't know that the Augusta National people would really object to their portrayal in the book. I think they would nod and say, yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, except for a few that are maybe a little on the shady side, and I won't go into any details on that, too. That's always possible, too.
It's a mystery novel.
Right, exactly.
Everybody's got a dark secret.
Now, there are a couple of moments of almost adolescent fun in this book, and all these things spin around Connor in one way or the other. Exactly what I was thinking of, food fight. That's at the point where I started thinking, hey, this is really, really funny stuff. Now, you don't have any stories about real food fights among
I'm afraid I don't.
Okay.
In fact, just between you and me, those people would not have actually even been invited to the Champions Dinner, but I just thought that seemed like a lot more fun, and as I said, I wanted to liven things up.
Now, is Connor, is he based on any real golfers that you know, pro or amateur?
No, not really. I mean, I stole the name from my nephew who lives in Norman, but he doesn't golf at all, so I think he's probably wishing I could have made him a pro soccer player or something. But no, it's just a combination of things that I had read and gotten ideas for. And as I said, what I really wanted was an interesting character that even if you're not into golf, I don't think you have to be, because he's a fun and likable character. And I've paired Connor with his caddy, Fitz, who is older and smarter, basically. But of course, Connor doesn't listen to him and does incredibly dumb, you know, teeing off with the wrong clubs and whatnot because he won't listen. And what I wanted to build was sort of a Bertie and Jeeves relationship between the two. And to me, that was the heart of the book.
Now, if people who do play a little golf read the book, can they take Fitz's advice? Does he give good advice?
I think so, yes. Right. I did read a bunch of the Harvey Pennick books and tried to pick up good caddy tips.
Okay, well, it's very entertaining. Are we going to see Connor again, maybe, you think?
I hope so. There's talk of such a thing.
All right, well, get to work on it right away.
Thank you.
Thanks. Everybody, we've been talking with Bill Bernhardt on his book, Final Round, a different approach for you, a different approach to the green. We appreciate having you with us, and we will see you all again soon.
Coming up next, we have Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Phil Taubert about a video I'm sure every teenager will want to hear about.
Phil, what is this video about? Britney Spears live from Las Vegas.
Well, this is one very energy-packed video. Let me tell you, 90 minutes filled with energy and excitement from the very beginning. I didn't know much about Britney Spears before I watched this video, but it is really incredible. It contains 15 of her greatest hits, and all of those are tied in with cinematography, choreography, costumes. I mean, it's just incredible. It's filmed in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, and the place is filled with people, just packed. I even saw Elvis.
You saw Elvis. He hadn't left the building, huh?
He has not left the building.
So this video is pretty fast-paced.
Thoroughly. I mean, everything from bungee jumping from up in the ceiling all the way to... There is a quiet moment, though, I must say. She takes the time to pay a tribute to the armed forces, the Marines, the Navy, or Air Force, Army, and all their work in dealing with the 9/11 crisis that we had to deal with here. This was done in November of 2001, so she had to took a few moments to reflect upon that and just say how much she loves the country, also how much she loves what she's doing as an entertainer too.
Right. So give me some idea about the special features in this video.
Cinematography, wonderful costuming, lots of imagination. In fact, the whole thing is presented as though it were a dream that she were having. And that way you kind of get the idea, I'm having a dream, and all of these magical kinds of things can happen. Lighting all over the place, and fireworks in the studio. I mean, it's just...
So it's pretty top-notch.
It really is. It's just crowded with people and lots of action all the way through from start to finish.
So, to you, what makes this video special?
Well, I think it has a special appeal to young people, teenagers, and that age group. And our library system right now is starting a lot of outreach programs to that age group. And for the summer, we're going to have some special summer reading programs, and we're going to give tickets away as one of the things for people who finish their... And have a drawing for those tickets for the concert that she's having.
So now you mentioned this video, and it is very, very popular. I think we have several copies of it.
Yes.
What else do we have with Britney Spears?
We've got CDs all over the place, all of her hits and all kinds of things, probably some biographical information as well, yes.
Yeah, she's had about 3, I think, multi-platinum albums and CDs and stuff. Well, Phil, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us. Britney Spears, live from Las Vegas. This was put together by Cream Cheese Film Production, HBO, Jive Records, and also, I believe it was Zuma Video.
Yes.
This is available at your local library and perhaps your local video store. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
We are more than 300 strong. We are diverse from all walks of life. We are musicians. We are teachers. We are computer experts and business leaders, each with the same goal, to meet the information needs of the people of Oklahoma County. We are the librarians of the Metropolitan Library System. How can we help you?
I have a couple of books for you. This first one harks back to the Good War. It's called GI, The American Soldier in World War II. It's by Lee Kennett. Now, a generation of men went to war, and it was a rich mix of class, culture, and ethnicity. Now, of these millions, 1/3 never left the USA, 2/3 saw service in every part of the world in what were amounted to 2 very different wars, the one in Europe and the one in the Pacific. Kennett used statistical data that had been studied, interpreted by sociologists, psychologists, etc., but he based most of this book on letters, memoirs, and interviews that he himself conducted or that some of his students at his university conducted, because he said it was very difficult to try to convey the essence of a war that had so many different facets to it. But he really does get into the creation of this multi-million man force. He talks about how the men looked at the training camps and were really trained to be complete soldiers, the challenges that they faced in combat with the variables of battle and who survived and who didn't, and a quite fascinating section on liberators and conquerors, because the two were often the very same person, and they had the exact same reaction from both the people they were liberating and the people they were conquering. He gets into what they ate, what they thought, how they survived, their opinion of other soldiers and allies and enemies, and vice versa, the opinion of the others to them as well. As Kennett says, so to the Japanese as to the Germans, the American soldier came to symbolize a unique form of domination, one without any particular rancor or vengefulness. Yet it is doubtful that the GI gave much thought to what he symbolized. He really just wanted to go home, and I think that's expressed very well. Kennett is Professor Emeritus at the University of Georgia, and he's the author of many books, including A History of Strategic Bombing and Marching Through Georgia, the Story of Soldiers and Civilians During Sherman's Campaign. Quite an enjoyable book. If you're interested in World War II, look up GIs. This next book, The Age of Terror, America and the World After September 11th, it's edited by Strobe Talbot and Nayan Chanda. Nayan Chanda is Director of Publications at the Yale Center for the Study of Globalization and co-author of over 12 books on Asian politics, security, and foreign policy. Talbot is Director of the Yale Center for the Study of Globalization and was formerly Deputy Secretary of State from 1994 to 2001, and has written 6 books on arms control and U.S.-Russian relations. As Americans always want to know what exactly happened and what are we going to do about it, this is the first of many, many books that will be written about 9/11 and what we should really do about it. It draws on the talents of several people that are considered cutting-edge thinkers: John Lewis Gaddis, Paul Kennedy, Charles Nile, Abbas Amant, Neil Ferguson, Harold Coe, Maxine Singer, and Paul Bracken. If you're interested in a first look at 9/11, this is the place to start. Coming up next, we have Kids Corner, and I had to substitute for Kelly Rhea and talked with Rosemary Zarsky about a book for our young adults. Rosemary, what kind of book have you brought for us tonight?
I've brought a historical fiction about a country girl back when desegregation was first making its way through the country.
Okay, now this is Belle
Teal. That is her name. It's not her last name, it's her first and second name. And everybody calls her Belle Teal. Belle is for her grandmother, and Teal was her grandmother's maiden name. So she loves her grandmother, but her grandmother is starting to exhibit Alzheimer-type conditions, and she's not understanding why. But her mother just says, just bear with her and repeat and love her and just be as if she's perfectly okay. And this philosophy carries over when she learns that she's going to go into school, be in the 5th grade with a most adored teacher, and there's going to be a black student in the class with her.
And for all of the younger people, this at one time was a very strange event.
Oh yes, I can remember. It took me back. I mean, just looking at the picture took me back, because I had sandy red hair that color when I was a girl, and I remember the emotions we went through as we lived through those years. And so yes, I thought it was a very realistic rendition, kindly told. Daryl, the black boy in Belle Teal's class, is a very intelligent young man, and he and Belle have a lot in common in terms of they both like writing, they like to express their opinions in word, and she and one of her friends and Daryl just become very close friends, and no one else in the class that has been taught not to accept this type of thing can understand that.
So there's a lot of really learning to accept people
Right.
for what they are, and for the fact that they are still just like everybody else.
Right.
Yeah. Even if they can't remember things or their skin is a different color.
Right. And even if to recognize, you know, back then abuse was as much an issue as it is now, but we just didn't talk about it. And it points to that, it hints at that, never comes out right and says it, but maybe one of the reasons Little Boss is both her friend and her enemy is because of issues at home that are unresolved. And so it's a very wonderful coming-of-age novel.
Okay, and very quickly, what would the ages be for this?
Basically, I think the ages would be about 4th grade to about 7th grade.
Okay. Thank you, Rosemary. And remember, you can find Belle Teal at your library and your favorite bookstore. It's time to do the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list is Star Wars Episode II, Attack of the Clones by R.A. Salvatore, The Summons by John Grisham, The Emperor of Ocean Park by Stephen Carter, Daddy's Little Girl by Mary Higgins Clark, The Wailing Wind by Tony Hillerman, Mortal Prey by John Sanford, The Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicola Krauss, The Shelters of Stone by Jean Aul, Fire Ice by Clive Cussler with Paul Kim-Prekos is number 2, and In This Mountain by Jan Karan is number 1. On the nonfiction list, John Adams by David McCullough is 10, Find Me by Rosie O'Donnell, Medal of Honor by Ellen McCallan, Lucky Man by Michael Fox, Odd Girl Out by Rachel Simmons, Firehouse by David Halberstam, A Mind at a Time by Mel Levine, Master of the Senate by Robert Caro, The Right Words at the Right Time, edited by Marlo Thomas, is number 2, and Michael Moore's Stupid White Men is number 1. On the children's list, number 10 is Princess in Love by Meg Cabot, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, Junie B. First Grader at Last by Barbara Park, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, Artemis Fowl by Ian Colfer, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket, The Unauthorized Biography, number 2 is Rowling's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and number 1 is Junie B. First Grader, Boss of Lunch by Barbara Park. Coming up next, we have Doug Benton from the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. He'll be talking with Evelyn Davis from the Downtown Library, and they have a book they want to share with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Evelyn Davis with the Library System, and it is my somewhat dubious pleasure to present Doug Benton.
It's always nice to work with you, too.
Mon plaisir. And he has chosen a dubious book called I Was a Monster, a movie maker, which deals with B movies.
Yes, it does. It's a collection of interviews with actors who appeared in B movies, or actors who worked with people who did appear in B movies in one case. This is like the 9th or 10th volume by Tom Weaver that takes this approach. He's a real chronicler of the history of B movies in America.
Well, if he didn't cost much to make them, they still cost something.
B movies, yeah.
Sure. Why were they made? Why did they go to see them?
Well, B movies were short. They usually ran 60 minutes to 75 minutes, and they were frequently made to be the bottom half of a double feature. Movies were doing just fine until radio came along. Radio then was free entertainment in the home, so theaters had to start offering something more than just the feature film. So they started making these B movies that were the bottom half of a double feature. So you could go and pay your money to see the same A movie from one of the large studios that you'd always been going to see, but then you got a second movie for free. Sometimes it was the same genre, so you would see an expensive Western and a B Western. Usually, though, it was in a different genre entirely.
Doug, did people from the B movies ever able to work their way up to the A crowd?
Yes, frequently that happened, and there were several people in here who were interviewed who did that.
Okay, give us some examples.
Okay, Dana Winter, an actress named Dana Winter, started in B movies. Her big B success was Invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 1950s. She went up into the A's. A man in here named Phil Brown made several B movies in America before he moved to England, where he did a lot of stage work and ended up playing Uncle Owen, the moisture farmer in Star Wars. So he did manage. I know you consider Star Wars, and in a way, Star Wars is a very expensive B movie. That's one of the things that killed the Bs, was that the major studios saw how popular they were and began putting big budgets into B-type films.
Okay, Doug, thank you very much. That was actually quite informative.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Evelyn and Doug. After a short break, I'll be back with local attorney Raymond Bud Bunkris, and he'll be telling us about a book he really enjoyed.
If you spend 15 minutes a day reading to a child, you're doing more than reading. You're building a bond that lasts a lifetime. Hi, I'm Penny McCaleb, Chairman of your Metropolitan Library Commission, and I urge you to read to your children. Not only will they learn to love reading, they will also become better students. Our children's librarians will be happy to help you select just the right book. The next time your child hands you a book, take the time to read. You'll both be glad you did.
Bud, what book have you brought for us tonight?
This is called The Good, the Bad, and the Difference. How to Tell Right from Wrong in Everyday Situations. This is by Randy Cohen.
Now, he writes for, what, the New York Times, is it? Or
Randy Cohen is a very experienced writer. He's had experience in a number of venues. Although most people wouldn't have been aware of it at the time, he was a writer for the David Letterman Show. He also has written pieces for The New Yorker and other magazines. And of course, he writes a column on the subject of ethics that appears in the New York Times Magazine, and it's also syndicated in other papers across the country.
What kind of questions does he deal with in the book?
Well, he deals with some what I'd consider to be sort of hot potato questions. His point of view is strongly secular and strongly liberal, and there's some political correctness, I have to say, in some of his responses. At the same time, he's not afraid to take on some pretty hot topics that you wouldn't be likely to find in the advice columns of popular newspapers. People like Ann Landers and so forth just probably couldn't deal with some of the subjects he deals with. For example, one man writes to say that he's Caucasian and he's attracted only to Asian women. Does this make me a racist?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Now, Randy says, yes, it does. And one of the things I like about the book is he's not afraid at all to present opposing viewpoints. Very seldom persuaded by people who write in responding to his answers, but he prints them. And so what the book is, in a lot of ways, is a kind of Socratic dialogue between Randy and the people who read his column. And so he'll write on a subject, someone writes in, and he responds to that, and then someone writes in and responds to the response, and so on.
It sounds like you could get maybe a real good feel for how a lot of people are thinking about, as you said, these hot potato subjects.
I think so. One of the heartening things about the book is the fact that because it's a popular book, a lot of people are reading, a lot of people read his column. It's heartening to think that so many people are concerned about ethical issues. Which they obviously are. A lot of people think that, you'll hear people say, we live in an age where people just don't care much about right or wrong. It's greed, or people don't have personal values or whatever. But I think this book illustrates that lots of people are deeply concerned about ethical issues.
Mm-hmm. So you think really anybody would enjoy picking up this book and reading it?
I think so. It's a book you can pick up and just open at any point and start reading. It's interesting. The beginning part of the book, is the introduction, is really about how to tell right from wrong, as the subtitle suggests. The bulk of the book, however, is these letters from readers and his responses to them. Yeah, I think anybody would enjoy the book. I don't know if it might be dangerous if someone you care about, his opinion you care about, it might be dangerous to raise some of these issues, because I could see how people could get sort of hot about some of them. They're pretty contentious.
Mm-hmm. But it sounds like he is able, with the varied background he's got, he's able to handle it pretty well.
I think so, and some of his responses were a surprise to me. He'll go off on a tack that I never would have considered. He's very persuasive.
Okay. Can you tell us again the title and the author?
It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Difference. It's by Randy Cohen.
Thanks very much, Bud. You can find this book at your library and your favorite bookstore. And you can also check out the library at our website, www.metrolibrary.org. You'll find out about all of the libraries, where they are located, what their hours are. You can also find out all the materials available for you. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.
Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.